Accessing.
When TV and radio collide.
Love it.
Wow. This is what you get. You're listening to JJ and Alex. Presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that thigh!
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back. Second hour of the program. Thanks for being with us here, JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen. Hold on. Did you say some? Did you say he had some NBA trade from the NBA trade breaking news desk? We have some.
Play the sound.
A little bit of something extra here. JJ, what are you finding out here? It looks like
breaking news from the NBA. A trade has gone down. An interesting deal involving the Chicago Bulls and the Oklahoma City Thunder.
What?
The Bulls are trading two-time all-defensive guard Alex Caruso to the Oklahoma City Thunder for their guard Josh Giddey, according to ESPN. Woj just dropping the bomb within the hour.
Well, say what you will.
Sam Presti's done it again.
Josh Giddey is out of Oklahoma City, which is probably better for everybody.
Yeah, and Caruso makes the Thunder better.
Isn't that wild? Imagine if you're Alex Caruso 3 years ago. How long has he been with the Bulls? 2 seasons? 1? Imagine being Alex Caruso and you're playing with LeBron. You're on this, everybody's starting to recognize you. You're starting to make some shots. And you get traded to the Bulls. And that's an awful freaking team, even though it's a historic franchise. And the best situation that it could have happened to you in your entire career is going to Oklahoma City. That's crazy. Where Alex Caruso's at right now. You go from L.A. to Chicago to Oklahoma City Thunder, and this is the closest to winning a legit title as you're going to get. And by the way, he's going to be a big piece of that puzzle, right?
He is. 4 years in L.A., 3 in Chicago. He's entering his 8th NBA season. And this is exactly...
Did he win a bubble title?
He did. He was on the bubble title team.
See, he's got championship DNA.
He does. And the Thunder need a veteran presence like that. Somebody who can go mix it up. Like I said, he's been on 2-time all-defensive team and an NBA champion. So those are things that the Thunder need right now. So the Thunder do upgrade there. He's 30 years old. Went to Texas A&M. But he's carved out a really nice niche for himself in the NBA. He's got toughness. He's got respect around the league. And he makes the Thunder better. Giddey basically wasn't even part of the – I mean, he almost played himself out of the rotation in the playoffs. He was not good.
So on top of the off-the-court
stuff. On top
stuff,
of the off-the-court drama that he caused,
right.
I think the Thunder are ready to move on. And, it just goes to show the Thunder have hit on a lot of picks, and Josh Giddey they missed on.
Are there other assets part of this deal?
Not that I'm aware of.
I mean, that's a slam freaking dunk for Sam Presti, right?
Exactly.
Gosh dang it. Don't you hate that the West just keeps getting better?
And Caruso is in the final year of a contract, so they have an expiring term there, so that they can make a decision whether to extend him or not.
Man, that Thunder team's going to be...
But they are, according to Woj...
I don't want to overplay...
The Thunder want him to be part of their long-term plan.
What was Alex Caruso's numbers last year in the Bulls uniform? Oh, they're on sale now. They're already on sale, by the way. That's Caruso quick. Jerseys.
Jeez.
Get the old number 6. 10 points a game? What was assists? 3.5 assists a game. He's going to be a solid player for him. I mean, he'll immediately go in there.
They got enough stars. They need guys like Caruso.
Right.
They need guys that will play a certain role that have that experience.
You got to get somebody to take the pressure off of SGA, right? Like have him just be that solid guy, bringing the ball up the floor, or just being somebody who's able to kind of just be able to help out enough to make sure that your superstars can stay superstars. So there you go. Man. I was hoping there was going to be some Jazz news. Although, did you see when you see the names that are out there that are available that don't want to be, I saw that Brandon Ingram is possibly on the trading block, right?
Yeah. And another name here to watch now that the Bulls have moved Caruso for Giddey is they are trying very aggressively to make a deal for their what's his name? The star for the Bulls, Zach LaVine. Sorry,
yeah.
Sorry, I had a brain pause there, brain cramp. But Zach LaVine is on the trade block,
which we've also heard his name in multiple.
Nobody's been taking, but apparently that's not the case. So another report I saw out there was because the free agent market is a little lean. Apparently, word is getting out where people want to go, and not a lot of guys are going to be moving around. All of a sudden, the interest in Zach LaVine has skyrocketed, and so look for some rumors and some moving and shaking going on around Zach LaVine. Now, would the Jazz be interested in Zach LaVine? I don't think so. I don't think the timeline's right. I don't think the money's right. I don't think that's a player that helps them long term. I don't feel like that's a place where they could go, but that's a player. We talk about big game hunting. If Danny Ainge is out there trying to, see what's available, that is a player that is very well known that could be available.
So tell me the day that the NBA draft is. NHL draft is next Friday, right?
NHL draft is
next Friday.
Next Friday, yep.
The NBA draft
is Wednesday night for the first round, Thursday night for the second round.
There's lots going on next week. Jeez.
It is a busy week.
But do you think that Landry Fields, who's the GM for the Hawks, by the way, do you think he's just blowing smoke out there saying, "Oh no, we're keeping that number 1 overall pick"? Or, I mean, I guess there's always a deal to be made, but is there a deal to be made? And is this a draft that you want to see? And this is something we can ask Ben Anderson next hour when he comes on with us. Is it interesting enough for the Jazz to make a play to get that number 1 overall pick? Because in a year when a team gets the number 1 overall pick, when there's not really a superstar on the list for them to get, that seems like on paper a time where a team like the Jazz could come in and go, "Hey, we like somebody at that spot." Is that something that could potentially happen with the Jazz's draft, or are they going to punt down the road to next year's draft?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, right? Because this is a draft where you could make that deal. If you really loved somebody, I think there's a lot of teams in the first round, especially up high. In most years, there's no way you could get one of those picks.
And there's not a consensus number 1, like
there
for
is not.
sure that's the guy going first.
Rizachet.
Excuse you.
See, I'm talking about most years, like everybody knew who Wemby was last year. I mean, you say Wemby, and everybody around the world knows who Wembanyama is.
When you talk about like
you talk about Zachary Rizachet.
Excuse you.
From France, nobody knows who I'm talking about.
It's a lot better for me to talk about who's the guard from Kentucky, Reed Shepherd.
Right.
That's an easier name to throw out there. But then you've got Donovan, who's the guy at UConn? Klingon, right?
Yeah, he's another guy that's up there.
He's thrown out there as a possible number 1 overall guy. So when you don't have a specific, like, oh, for sure it's going to be that guy, a consensus, this person's going to go first, you have teams that might kind of fracture off from one another in that race and go, dude, we need Donovan Klingon. Dude, we need Reed Shepherd, right?
Well, here's a name that I think you look at, Stephon Castle. He's a guy he would give the Jazz that 3-and-D wing that they would like to add to their roster. Championship DNA, won titles at UConn. But can you get him? You'd have to probably move up to the top 4. So is this a moment?
And is it worth doing it in a draft like this?
And this is where I'm getting to your question. This is a draft where you probably could make that big of a move without having to give up the world. But is he worth it? Which player in this draft is worth that? Is Rizachet worth that? Is Alex Sarr worth that? I mean, the Wizards need Alex Sarr. Is he going to be the difference in their rebuild? Maybe you could offer the Wizards something that they would have more interested, maybe picks down the road. I mean, the Jazz will have 3 first-round picks next year unless they convey their own to the Thunder, but we know they have the Timberwolves and the Cavaliers picks next year. Now, are those going to be great, high? No, probably not. I think both of those teams are, in the top third of the league next year.
Sure.
The Jazz rolled the dice on that, and, there's not going to be lottery picks is my point. But if you're the Jazz, you have to weigh that out. And the Jazz have enough assets to go chase that if they wanted to. I don't know that that's wise, and I don't know if this is the draft. But it's the kind of draft where you could do it, but I don't know if it's worth the price.
All right. Let's shift some things over to, by the way, this program brought to you by G2G Bars. All natural ingredients, no preservatives. Make the G2G Bar perfect for anybody who needs a quick, tasty, nutritious boost. Hey, Jeremy, I know it's late, but let's do the cut. We'll get to it. We'll make this official. Let's get to some hockey talk here.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Aha, look at that. We've got music for everything. Somebody's got music for everything. Love it. All right, so yes. By the way, the cut brought to you by the Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork and Spanish Fork. Nobody knows service like Doug, and nobody knows cars like Doug. Nobody knows the car that you want the most like Doug. Here, Doug. Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork and Spanish Fork. All right, so there you go. JJ, we have an actual, it's every day that there's a little piece of news, it becomes a little bit more real with the Utah Hockey Club. Preseason schedule's out. A home opener for the team is also going to be on the 23rd of September. I mean, we're getting close here. Like, mark it off. The calendar is going to look like this. They've got their first preseason matchup is going to be against the Blues. Isn't that weird, too, to just even say that?
Wow, it's just, yeah, that's so cool.
And that one's not going to be here. It's at Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa. And then...
so I'm going to be traveling to Des Moines? Is that what you're telling me?
I think it's pronounced Des Moines.
Okay. We got to work on that. different geography we're going to have
You do that. You go out to Des Moines.
Is that in
Quebec? Quebecois. No, but listen, you don't need to go out there because the very next night they're going to be taking on the Kings here at the Delta Center. Yeah, just stay here.
We're used to having a little October hockey at Delta Center, but it's usually
not like this.
It's not like this.
Not like this.
Is cool.
So you're going to have a couple things that are cool off of this preseason schedule. And I know that what did we hear from Ryan Smith and from everybody that we've talked to about preseason hockey, it's not great. But it's preseason freaking hockey, and it's even if it's not the highest quality that you get of regular season, we get it. If you go to a preseason NFL game, you know by the third quarter, the guy who's playing quarterback for either team is likely not going to be in the league even that year. Might be on a practice squad. But you know what it is? It's a freaking NFL game, all right? And in this case, this is brand new to us. So St. Louis in Iowa on the 22nd of September, they come right back to Salt Lake City, which is where they're going to have their preseason opener against the Kings. Does that mean that the normal, like, so the Frozen Fury preseason stuff's off? But it is. I get it. They're not branding it the Frozen Fury thing, but the Kings are still coming to town for a preseason game.
Which is cool.
It's a win-win.
It's great.
It's still happening. Then they go to Vegas. They go to Colorado. They go to San Jose. They go to Anaheim. And then they come back and wrap things up. Are you ready for this little twist? Taking on Colorado. The Avalanche are coming to town, and they're playing them at the Maverick Center.
That's cool.
That is, this slate right here, this is just a freaking preseason. But yeah, we do need to probably have somebody in every city in every one of those nights. I'll volunteer as tribute. Like if you want to go down to Vegas, I'll go to Colorado. I'll have Sam go to San Jose. We'll wrap it up with you back down there in Anaheim to wrap up the roadie.
I just want to make that. I want to make that Edmonton trip. When is that going to happen?
Do you?
Get me to the plains of Alberta. Drag me to Alberta.
I thought with the felony you don't get the passport anymore.
Dang it!
I think you'll make it.
I'll have to move on then.
we got that new passport office coming to Utah. Thanks, Mitt Romney.
That's right.
So
yeah, get that cleared up.
We'll get you dialed up. You can go over there and plead your case over there. Okay? All right. So at the very least, we have preseason hockey that's lined up in the state of Utah in 3 months. JJ, 3 months.
So cool.
From right now. We're going to be playing preseason NHL hockey.
And they're going to have they're going to have a little rookie draft pick game.
Oh yeah, what's that about?
In July.
It's like a 4-on-4, what is it called? It's not an exhibition. It's basically like a little get together. Yeah, draft picks and rookie.
Like a prospect development camp.
Yeah, like an exhibition
stuff going on. Yeah,
4-on-4 exhibition.
And NHL draft picks versus rookies exhibition.
Very fun. Very fun.
All this it's just surreal that we're talking about all this.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, and this might be a function of just kind of what's going on at the stadium that time of year, but 5 out of the 7 preseason games are not going to be played at Delta Center. And that's okay. You just keep getting us more and more excited about it.
Colorado makes sense. The Grizzlies are a Avalanche affiliate.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why not?
And I know that the Frozen Fury, like, actual branded preseason game is cooked. But guess what? The Kings are coming here to play the Utah Hockey Club. So I'm getting excited about it. All right. Joining us in studio, nice enough to hang out with us all day today. He's the president of the Ute Stampede Rodeo. He is Chris Memmott, somebody who's been on these airwaves many, many times. And it's that time of year for us to be able to kind of make that pitch for the Juab County Fairgrounds, Chris. And I know sometimes, it sometimes just takes people going down there the one time and figuring out, oh, my goodness, this is something, it's a little bit of a gem that if you've never taken your family there, it's something that people have been making a tradition for their family for a long, long time. And this is not the $90 ticket to that one football game for one kid. This is the entire family getting in at a low price. Plus, you're getting money off just by listening today. It's a win-win for everybody. But at its core, you brought it up the last time we were just chatting about this, it's a family event, man.
Yeah, it is. And that's probably the single most thing that we're proud of is our family-friendly atmosphere and the things that we do with the carnival, with the events inside of the rodeo, the food, everything is basically built around the family and the family having a good time when they come out to the show.
What I love going down to Nephi. Been there many times, a lot of times for football and stuff like that. But for the rodeo, it's just the community atmosphere. There's just something special. I grew up around, in small town, grew up going to rodeos. There's just something special in the summer about going to those kind of events, and this Ute Stampede really has that feel, right?
The atmosphere, we're super proud of our atmosphere as well. That's another thing. It's built around a break in the summer. The old farming communities, between their second and third cuts of hay, traditionally would take a break and have a celebration. That's what this is. It's just basically a break in the middle of the summer to get together with your family and celebrate. It's to its core a celebration of community and family and friends.
Listen, I don't have to sell anybody on carnival food, but you'll go down there and it's a tradition. The funnel cake and the corn dogs.
Corn dogs.
Oh man,
we're talking about.
You had me at
have
corn dog.
City of Fun and Pam Melendez. She has the best. We have people driving up before the show even starts, on now Tuesday. I was about to say Wednesday. Wednesday's bull riding, but
right.
Tuesday driving from far and wide to come and get a corn dog.
Rodeo food is the most underrated. As far as concessions go, the rodeos always have it. I mean,
Well, what do rodeos do?
Ute Stampede.
What do rodeos do? What do the carnival food places do? They are pioneers of insanely unhealthy foods that you need to have.
Absolutely.
So at the very least, you're going
Hey,
to
I'm not going to the rodeo to eat broccoli.
Look,
I'll tell you that.
listen,
I can do that any day.
Somebody was in a kitchen.
Give me that funnel cake.
Somebody was in a kitchen 8 months ago, and whatever crazy creation they came up with, you're going to be able to enjoy it at the Ute Stampede Rodeo this year. So you're going to want to go down, check it out. The City of Fun, of course, the carnivals, the games, all the stuff for the kids. And then on top of it, the actual rodeo events are phenomenal. Go check it out for yourself. UteStampedeRodeo.com. Tell me again what some of the dollars off type situations and kind of if you combo tickets together too, you can get into other events as well. So tell us what we have. If somebody goes to UteStampedeRodeo.com, what can they save?
So $2 off across the board right now until July 1st. And all of our promotions are till July 1st right now. But we also are running with our bull riding that's on the 10th. We're running a special. If you buy a bull riding ticket, you can get a Thursday night ticket half off, which is about $5-6. So it is being presented as a bundle. So if you want to call it a bundle and come 2 nights, the great thing is all the things we've been talking about are available those 2 nights. And we're anticipating Wednesday with the carnival that folks are going to have, not going to say light crowds, but a lighter crowd, so you can ride more rides with less time. So it's truly a good value to try and come out on Wednesday and Thursday nights.
I'll get out there. Listen, I'll loosen up those rims for you too. I'll go out there, shoot a couple myself. Get those listen. You go out there and you get those basketball games out there. I can't pass one up.
I'll meet you there.
I can't. I can never pass those up. Yeah. UteStampedeRodeo.com is the website. You can get some money off on every ticket right now, plus combo some of those tickets and get half-price tickets as well to the Extreme Bull Riding as well. So, all right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go. Chris, thanks for hanging out, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. UteStampedeRodeo.com. More information for you there. Go check out the schedule. See all those days of events they're going to be doing down there at the Juab County Fairgrounds. More to go. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
Your home for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the program. Hey, it's Thursday. You know what that means? One, coming up in just a little while, we're going to be giving away some tickets to Real Salt Lake and the Houston Dynamo. Oh, that's a July 3rd. July 3rd. That's a Seinfeld bit. Remember, that's the date that he says for the how do they know when the expiration date is on milk? What are the cows tipping them off? July 3rd. I always say that for July 3rd. So, July 3rd, Houston Dynamo coming to town with Real Salt Lake. We'll give some tickets away to that in just a moment. In the meantime, though, it's that time of the week for us to be able to honor the Hercules Hero of the Week. And our winner this week is Brandon Linnell. Nominated this week, Brandon coaches girls softball in West Valley, has had the same group of girls for the last 4 years, takes his coaching seriously, but also makes sure that they're having fun and learning at the same time, helps players who have never played before and developed into that love of the game that so many great coaches do. He's great and patient with the girls, and they all like being on his team. That's the number one thing, right? They have a good time, and but they also learn about the competitive nature of it. And so Brandon Linnell is the winner this week of the Hercules Hero of the Week. Going to get a $50 Visa gift card from Hercules Credit Union and $200 of a credit to use at Beehive Meals. So another one in the books, JJ, for us. The Hercules Hero of the Week, Brandon Linnell of West Valley. So there you go. That's cool. That's awesome. And they're going to love the Beehive Meals, especially. We always rave about those. But again, another example of someone that's doing things that really needs to be recognized. We can't have the great sports landscape we have in the state or produce the amount of great athletes the state produces without people like Brandon Linnell, who are out there giving it, they're just volunteering their time to help these young people get better at their craft. And it's a generational thing that's passed down, that knowledge and that coaching. There's so many great coaches out there in this state that are doing exactly what Brandon does. We want to recognize them. That's why I love the Hercules Hero of the Week. If you want to nominate a youth sports volunteer in your area who does a phenomenal job, you can, of course, go to KSLSports.com/contests and nominate them right there on the page. And then we will read those winners off on a weekly basis for the Hercules Hero of the Week so we can honor those youth sports volunteers in your neighborhood. KSLSports.com/contests. Okay. Let's chat a little bit about some of these, some things that have happened here after the passing of Willie Mays, which, by the way, my son at his baseball practice the other day, they had their, at the end of practice, they had all the boys practicing catching balls over their shoulders. And
really?
Yeah. And,
that's cool.
And they were like, and my other son was like, I don't know what they were doing. I don't know when. It's like I could count on one hand how many times I've had to even like look over my shoulder to try to catch a ball. I said, bro, Willie Mays just passed away.
Yep.
Maybe the most phenomenal catch that we've ever seen was that catch that he made, the catch and throw, the subsequent spinning throw that he made as well. It was just, and so I thought it was really cool that their coaches had them do these catches over the shoulders to honor Willie Mays. So, who should be considered the best living baseball player now?
This is tough.
So, CBS Sports put a list together. Let me throw some names out there for you. Okay. Mike Schmidt, Pedro Martinez, Barry Bonds, Greg Maddux, Albert Pujols. Johnny Bench is still with us. That's good. Now, why didn't you put Pete Rose on this list? Jeremy? I know it's a
This
CBS.
wasn't my list.
I know it wasn't your list, but I know we're keeping him out of the Hall of Fame, but does that mean we don't consider him part of any kind of the baseball zeitgeist, right?
Blame CBS for that, not me.
What about my guy Ichiro? How come he's not on the list?
Make your own list. You're good.
Listen, Ichiro.
Pick your own.
Sandy Koufax, you're like,
Would
maybe.
you go with Ichiro?
Sandy Koufax still with us?
He
Yes,
is.
they mentioned in there.
Sandy Koufax is still with us.
Okay. See, all I'm saying is some of the guys on this list. So let me throw out some of mine. Pete Rose should definitely be he's a top 3 guy probably. If you're talking about people who are alive, the career hits just alone put him in that conversation. And again, like I said, you may not like Pete Rose as a person. Heaven knows most of us don't.
Where's Nolan Ryan? 7 no-hitters?
Nolan Ryan, aside from beating up
Robin Ventura.
Robbie Ventura, he also, somebody posted the other day on Twitter, the time that he got hit in the face by a Bo Jackson liner. He is bleeding down his entire Rangers uniform. They stitched him up in the dugout between innings. He went on to strike out 7 more and had a complete game. And Nolan Ryan had 7 no-hitters. Now, it's a tough time to be a pitcher. Pedro Martinez, phenomenal. Probably the most, I'd say Pedro was maybe the most dominant pitcher in terms of control and just guys who just get twisted up when Pedro Martinez is on the mound. And he was that guy, too, who would go 9 innings. Because nowadays it's like you pitch 6 and a third and you're a freaking hero, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
They're pulling guys out with no hitters after 7 innings.
Yes.
All-Star game,
It's
strikes out
ridiculous.
5 guys, 2 innings. Strikes
5
out the
guys
side.
and 2 strikes out the side and then 2 more in the All-Star game. These guys are trying not to get embarrassed. And then they tried to pretend like, oh, just having fun out here. The best players in the freaking game. And Greg Maddux might be on that list too. And if we're not putting Pete Rose on the list, why are they putting Barry Bonds on the list? You see what I'm saying?
Well, here's the problem with this conversation is the steroid era really clouded our judgment here. Because there was a lot of superstars during the 90s that weren't clean. And we don't know how to judge that era.
Right.
So I'm going to throw out.
But Pete Rose, at the very least, his on-field stuff wasn't tainted by the idea of performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah. No, I mean, you can make the case for Pete Rose in
How
this
about somebody who's still
conversation.
playing? How about somebody who's still playing right now? How about like an Aaron Judge or a Shohei Ohtani? Aaron Judge's been in the league 7 years now. But Shohei Ohtani's doing
could
something.
End up being,
Shohei Ohtani's doing
yes.
something we've never seen in non-black and white footage in baseball.
Agree.
So
I got some names to throw out for consideration.
Ichiro, perfect.
Derek Jeter.
The captain,
The captain?
maybe the most boring superstar baseball player
I know,
ever.
but he's there.
It's fine.
He was consistent over a long period of time. Got 99.7% of the Hall of Fame vote. My personal pick, my favorite, my best player currently living that ever lived is Ken Griffey Jr.
The kid. See,
I'm going with Griffey.
You know, I get clouded by the Mariners stuff, and so I don't want to be that guy.
No.
But he is one of the guys.
It's a shame that he never got to play in a World Series and
He's the
and win a
only
title,
one
but, wow, he's good.
of the modern era who's over 650 home runs who is not tied
Yep.
to performance-enhancing drugs.
Correct. His combination of his offense, I mean, did anybody have a better swing? And then you combine it with his defensive prowess in center field. I think only Willie Mays was a better center fielder than Ken Griffey Jr.
So that was one of my favorite things ever is when he stole that. His dad called him off on a fly out. And his dad's like, so imagine you're playing a Major League Baseball game. Your son is playing center field. He's by far the better player, but he's young, you know, and your dad's playing left field. But, usually the center fielder is the one who calls people off of balls or not, but not when your dad's the left fielder. So ball gets lined to left field. Ken Griffey Sr. is like, all right, I got it. And then out of the frame comes Ken Griffey Jr., his son, steals the ball out of his dad's glove and just laughs as he's running to the dugout. As his dad's like, you freaking kid. He put a little half smile on his face for fun. But Ken Griffey's smile may have been the coolest thing ever, too. Is Bo Jackson deserving to be on that list? I don't think he's strong enough good years of baseball.
He's not a Hall
together.
of Famer. No. You got to be either a Hall of Famer or surefire. Let me throw out a few more from the 80s, 90s. Rickey Henderson. Cal Ripken Jr. should be in consideration.
Why not?
George Brett should be in consideration. And here's one you didn't think of. You already mentioned Nolan Ryan, which is a great one. Only one player has ever had 100% of the Hall of Fame vote. Mariano Rivera. The greatest closer of all time.
He was an Enter Sandman guy, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Where's the Huey Lewis? Please don't.
Do it.
I'm trying to think, too. Who is that? Who is the old guy who's like 50 years old?
There we go.
Who's the guy who's like 50?
Mariano Rivera coming out of the bullpen.
Who is the guy that was like 50 years old throwing knuckleball till he was like, no.
Charlie Huff?
Tim Wakefield passed away recently. Charlie Huff.
Yep.
Charlie Huff was legitimately looked like my grandpa out on the field, but would like strike guys out with
Charlie Huff looked like he was 60 when he was 30.
I know, and he seriously pitched for 28 seasons or something like that.
He probably had bourbon in the dugout.
He's drinking a bourbon in the dugout, and Jim Leland is out there smoking some heaters, trying to hide him in the dugout. Remember when Jim Leland would try to sneak? Look at Charlie Huff. He's old as the hills, man. He's still with us, isn't he? I don't want to do this.
He looks like he's 90 and he's only 75.
This is a bad list for me, Jeremy, because it's like who is still alive.
He's 76 years old.
I assume everybody's dead.
Charlie Huff played for the Marlins.
Oh yeah, he threw like a no hitter for the Marlins. I feel like
we're making stuff up now.
He definitely looked like they cast this movie weird. That guy doesn't look like a baseball player. That's what he looked like. My goodness.
That's a blast. Everybody that grew up in our generation had a Charlie Huff baseball card.
No.
All-star with the Rangers in 1986.
That's where he was an all-star, was the Rangers?
Yes.
Jeez.
Hey, but people forget he was a really good pitcher with the Dodgers back in the 70s.
Yes, remember when they made guys pitch for like 78 innings in a row? Like they're all, hey, you're pitching tomorrow too. I know you pitched 19 innings today. You're going to need to do the same thing tomorrow. Here's your heroin.
A little different these
to
days.
Get through it.
Well, back then they weren't paying $30 million a year for a pitcher that was going to eventually tear his UCL.
They're all UCL. Never heard of it.
Your elbow hurts. Get back out there.
UC, hell no. You're pitching today, son.
Rub some dirt on it.
All right, we're gonna take a break. We will come back and we'll give away those tickets. We want you, if you missed a portion of the conversation that Howard Beck had. Howard Beck from The Ringer had a conversation with Hans Scotty today. We'll play a minute 30 clip of his discussion about the Jazz, what he had to say on Hans Scotty today. And like I said, RSL tickets waiting in the wings. So stay with us, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You got. You're listening to JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars.
Don't touch that dime!
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. That was actually an underrated conversation we just had about the best still living baseball player right now. It was a slam dunk. It was Willie Mays until he passed away this week.
No doubt.
So going through the list now of Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers, all of that, it's a wild thing to go through and guess.
All those big names, the romanticized names that we didn't get to see, and not a lot of video exists of, like the Babe Ruths and the Hank Aaron's and guys like Willie Mays and some of those guys and Satchel Paige, like all the old-time Hall of Famers, Mickey Mantle. There's just not a lot of video of those guys. That whole generation is gone.
Yeah.
And so now we have this. Now it's a really interesting question. Who's the greatest living MLB player? And
Yeah.
you're all over the map trying to figure that out.
I don't think it can be a pitcher. I don't think it can be.
That's
a
why I
pitcher.
go with Ken Griffey Jr.
I
That's my guy.
think the kid is about as good of a pick as you can get. Because
Cal
pitchers,
Ripken's a close second.
like I know pitchers, and look, Cal Ripken is the Iron Man, right?
Yep. And not only that, but he was just a great two-way player.
Yeah.
Well, 5-tool, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, he played.
Like,
He's
he
Golden
was
Glover.
one of the best defensive
and he hit.
shortstops,
Yes.
and he was a great hitter.
If Tony Gwynn were still alive, it'd be Tony Gwynn probably right now. Just because
One more name I'll throw out there we didn't mention.
Let me hear it.
Reggie Jackson.
He's still with us.
Yes.
Mr. October.
He's at Rickwood Field today for the
Oh,
celebration.
that's right. Yeah. They had. So I think Major League Baseball is going to play a game out there in a month.
They are.
Oh, is it tonight?
Yep, it's tonight.
There's another one. Yeah, they're doing a couple games in different places across the country that
The timing with Willie Mays passing is,
pretty phenomenal.
poignant.
Yeah. All right. Let me give the phone number out real quick here, because I want somebody to win some tickets. A pair of tickets to Real Salt Lake and the Houston Dynamo coming up on July 3rd at America First Field. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. 801-575-9663. Get your pair of tickets to Real Salt Lake and the Houston Dynamo coming up on July 3rd. So there you go. Okay. Howard Beck from The Ringer went on Hans and Scotty's show today, right before we came on. And so I thought, you know what? JJ heard the same thing I did, and an interesting conversation, because as soon as the Jazz kind of came up, obviously, they wanted to ask some questions about it and what that looks like going forward in the next month as the front office is trying to make some moves to improve this team. How long is it going to be until you see an improved team? Here's what he had to say about it.
Plenty of speculation and plenty of big names that could move around this summer in free agency or trade. It's usually less than the number of players we actually talk about. I don't know that there's any big opportunity there. And I'll say this, and I don't mean it to sound like a hot take. I think there's more likely of the Jazz taking a step back than taking a step forward. Like, if somebody made them a sweetheart deal for Lauri Markkanen, that wouldn't surprise me either. Because the fact is this, if you look at where the Jazz are right now, and you look at the teams ahead of them, and you look at the fact that a team like the Grizzlies were only down because of injuries, you know, they were, top 3 just a year ago. They're going to bounce back. And the Spurs now have Wembanyama and are going to keep building around him. And the Rockets are already starting to make their leap. Where's the room for the Jazz to be like a trade or two or one big game hunt away from being in playoff contention? It's really crowded. And now there are teams that are on the downside, right? Like the Lakers, we don't know how much longer they're going to be a really good team. But as long as LeBron is around, they're going to be in the mix. The Warriors have age issues. The Clippers have age issues and could lose Paul George. But I just don't see where the path is for the Jazz to make some swing this summer and be like, okay, we're back in business. So I think it's either something smaller around the margins or, again, not to be hot takey, but if somebody made them a great offer for Lauri Markkanen and it was one more step back to take steps forward later when there's more of an opportunity to actually climb the standings, that would seem like a plausible way to go to.
Eek, bro.
He's not wrong, which makes me cringe. Because here's the reality, is he's probably right. And if he's probably right, that means how do the Jazz improve this summer? It's going to be really hard. It's going to be really, really hard. And so what do? You take another year. You try to really position yourself for the best pick you can get in the 2025 NBA draft. It's supposed to be a phenomenal draft. Cooper Flagg, we've all seen the highlights. We know how good he looks. And there's more. He's not just the only player. It's going to be a good draft.
Yegar Dolman out of BYU.
You're laughing. You're laughing. Cannon Catchings. It's what we just said is nuts. That's a different conversation. But there's going to be a lot of talent in that draft. And so the Jazz might be to the benefit of the franchise to be heavily involved in that draft than to take one. What is your move right now? Zach LaVine? We just talked about it earlier with the Bulls trading Caruso to the Thunder for Josh Giddey. They're obviously tearing some things down here. They want to get rid of Zach LaVine. Is Zach LaVine the difference? That's the kind of player right now, as of 5:02 on June 20th, just 6 days away from the draft. You know, that's the move to make, and that's not going to help you. That's not putting you over the top.
Go hockey. Is that what I'm hearing?
We're going to be very focused on hockey next season. Let me just say that.